and want your games casted in the future, please feel free to reach out, like, follow, let me know. Basically just want permission from people to cast their games, and I am very on board to do so. Your elo does not matter. I actually like a lot of little elo games. They're very action-packed. There's constant fighting. Games go for like 40 minutes. All right, looks like Sarah is in the game. We are going to spectate. We should have our 3-minute delay here, and then without further ado, we will be in. Quick examination of both teams here. We do see the Malphite coming out on our good old faithful red team here. Does it give names? Does not. Joe Rogan 2024 over here. I'm just going to call him red and blue for today. And we saw the Mordekaiser get counterpicked, knowing that was a kind of a top priority pick here coming in for the red side. We see the Graves come in, a comfortable pick and one of the recommended bans from our LoL VVV. In our top lane, I believe, yeah, we should have our Darius, and that must be a Malphite mid. I see, that's why Sarah is on the Malphite here. And we're going to have a Braum MF in the bot lane. Pretty strong duo. All around, a lot of pretty beefy champions on here. They're pretty AD heavy, so they need to be a little bit careful about reses and things getting through. But if you look on the other side, there's simply not a lot of tanky champions, other than, say, like maybe the Mordekaiser, and I wouldn't think Viego would go tanky, but he has options for some of these kind of tankier lifesteal builds. But for the most part, it should be okay, even that they are AD heavy, and Graves being kind of a hyper carrying things doesn't really care. Looking at the other side, we are going to have I was about to say a Jarvan, a Jace in the top lane versus that Darius. I don't actually know how that goes. Don't know the matchup super well. You know, in theory, Jace can kind of poke him out, but of course Darius, the all-in master, likely looking for some dunks up there. In the bot lane, we have Kai'Sa and Lulu. Strong combo overall. In the early game, though, I would say MF and Braum are probably going to have a solid lead there. But I don't expect them necessarily to die unless, you know, some things go awry in that bot lane, of course. Particularly, you know, Lulu getting hit by a Q and stunned and slowed. There's recipe for trouble down there. But I see a lot of better matchups, I guess, or better ways this can go from the red side. I was about to say in the top lane we have Mordekaiser, but I thought Jace was up there. So scratch what I said. I think we have Mordekaiser in the top lane with Darius, which is a little more standard, I guess. And then have a Jace versus the Malphite in the mid lane, which the Jace is going to have a big problem if that is the case. And I love the Malphite pickup here if that is going to be the matchup. Strong champion in general, and of course going to do very well versus a lot of the AD mids, Jace included. A lot more mixed damage coming out of our blue team here with Kai'Sa, Mordekaiser covering on that magic side, and Viego and Jace on the AD side. Definitely a lot more damage coming through on that team overall. But a lot of engage on the red side and some tanky boys to deal with a lot of that damage. All right, into game we go. It is a little bit hard to tell. So the Jace and the Mordekaiser actually have an option to do a lane swap here, especially with both of them running TP. It's very reasonable that they maybe show up late to lane or something like that and try and line up the Mordekaiser with the Malphite, I think is better. I don't think Jace wants to be in that lane a whole lot. And I think he can probably do better versus the Darius and get that range advantage, especially early. There might be opportunities to punish there. Or is it Darius mid? Yeah, I guess the other team has the option too. I only saw the one TP, but now I realize it is on the Malphite. So a lot of options for what can happen here. I think a lot of potentially flex roles as we go into the early game and start loading in here. Let's see if there's any shenanigans that happen to go on. Neither team with a real hard engaged level 1. Braum can kind of maybe get it off. on red side, but other than that, I don't expect a lot of shenanigans here. Okay. Turn off the music. Pretty wubby. We do see not a lot of shenanigans going on. Darius is sneaking away to that top side brush. They like to look for a lot of those level 1 early all-ins from someone getting a little bit too lazy walking to their lane. Other than that, blue pretty much mostly spreads out to a 5-point defense with a little ward in the bottom try there, and red is going to choose to stay grouped. There are no wards in that red topside jungle. It's possible Viego looks up and starts the red there on Graves. He wouldn't actually know, but given how defensive they're looking here, probably not going to go for it. Oh, they're putting pings down. Or Darius is. They're worried he might take it. And when your top laner does not defend that until 130, or, 120 or what, yeah, about 130 is, I think, is when they leave, you don't know that he's not taking it, and he chose to keep his ward as well. So ultimately, kind of a lack of vision there, but not going to be punished for it. We are going to get starts on the opposite side. Viego starting at blue here. We'll see if he chooses to counter and go to the red and do kind of a vertical jungle. Or just full clear down to that blue side, or the bottom side. Little poke going back and forth in the mid lane here. Wave top lane's going to start slow pushing to Mordekaiser. We see Viego headed to his wolves now, so he is not going to go for that red side invade into the Graves. Both junglers pretty content, just clearing everything on their side for the moment. No very aggressive acts from this bottom lane. They look pretty content just to farm it out. Don't expect a lot down here for now. Oh, a nice Q from the MF off the minion, but it's going to get blocked by the Lulu. Great awareness. That wave's going to start slow pushing down to the blue side, and Viego's finishing his red now. I'd love to see a bot gank down here in, the 20-30 seconds it takes to him to clear that, and he might do a camp with it. Darius putting some damage down on the top lane, not able to hit the Q, but takes advantage of its level 3 there and gets some poke down onto the Mordekaiser as the wave slams. His jungler's on the strong side versus Viego on the other side, so it is relatively safe for him to be doing this. Bot lane for blue doing a good job of keeping the wave in control of their front of the tower here. They definitely want to line up a gank with the Viego, but they've spotted that Braum has headed over to try and dropped a ward in the tri-bush there. Mordekaiser taking some big damage. Darius with a big hook there. Avoids taking a tower shot. Trade relatively even, but all in all, I think that's a good trade for Darius. Kaisa getting some damage down, putting some damage down. Lulu shield blocks a lot, but it's not up now, and Kaisa loses about half her health here. The aggression coming down from MF and Braum, and the Viego has rotated up towards mid, so he's not immediately here for a gank, but we see pings coming now. He is walking through river. This looks like it's going to be our first gank of the game as Graves rotates to top side as well. Here comes the Viego. Lines up the W. MF dodges it and flashes. Gets out. Braum jumps to the MF. And they are out freely. Okay, not actually free. A nice gank from Viego to burn the flash on the MF. And then a good play from Braum to bait the rest and get out. All in all, no casualties. But the flash advantage being pinged here by the Viego might look to take advantage of that and come back in a minute. Mordekaiser landing his E, getting a big slap onto the Darius, but the Graves has arrived. The Darius maybe not quite ready for it, but it doesn't matter. The Graves is doing tons of damage and burns the flash out of the Mordekaiser up in top lane. Almost might have wondered if they could have killed him if the Darius was on top of him a little bit more, but still a successful gank from the Graves. He's now looking over to mid side. That Graves to the Malphite, but he's going to walk over a ward. Not going to gain much out of that. Mordekaiser spending his teleport, headed back to the top lane. Graves is going to get spotted going to that top side, and Viego is now up there as well. We might see some kind of 2v2 action. Remember, Mord just TP'd up there. Presumably he got it back. He's going to go in, lands the E, but it is a 2v1 before it starts. Viego is not rotating up here. Mordekaiser getting very low, is flashed down now, able to walk away, gets away again. They've spent a lot of time up their top lane, not able to get kills, but they have put quite a bit of pressure in giving their Darius a big lead. And we know those top lanes can be very, very snowbally. So investing in your top lane early, making sure they get the big lead, especially in a kind of snowbally matchup like that, is definitely not the worst idea. I like what they're going for. And some good ganks. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get much. Jay's putting some poke down, but gets turned on instead and absolutely obliterated by the Malphite. Gets a little too cocky and does not respect the Malphite level 6 damage. That is first blood going over to red side. Beautiful play out of the Malphite there to recognize that the Jace had nothing left in the tank, and he did not do the damage that he wanted to as much as it was. A nice double up on the MF. Into the Kai'Sa, who gets Q'd, exhausted, but the Poly comes down on the Braum. They're not going to be able to get the stun off. Lulu going at the Braum, running at his face, doing the autos, but MF is there too, saying, I can auto back. It was all a stall, though, for Viego, who misses the W, but is able to put big damage down onto the MF in the bush. She blows heal, gets out, TP's coming down, and the Blues team is so low, they panic. They realize they're not going to win this. They have to go. A simple Q kills the Kai'Sa. The Viego's only level 5. He can't fight this either. And a big win out of the red team here. A great TP from the Malphite to pick up the kill, turn things around. He is going to lose a lot of wave in the mid lane here. Maybe a wave and a half build up there and probably a plate or two, but it is all for the greater good as they pick up some kills bottom, save their bottom lane, and get at least a plate in response here and cost maybe 2 full waves to the blue side. All around a wonderful start for the red team here. Let's see how they look to snowball some of this early game advantage that they have. A nice stops back there from the Kai'Sa with a cheeky little W into the bush. See Mordekaiser getting denied out of his cannon there. Always feel best bad. And there's a slow push now headed towards the top lane. We talked about that early game advantage snowballing. And with drag being on the table much more critically, it's going to be hard for Viego to work his way up here and get a gank off onto this Darius and help free up this freeze that the Mordekaiser's struggling with right now. What they might opt for is something like go for Shelly and a top lane kill instead, and then give up Dragon for it. We see Graves rotating down to that Dragon side, likely going to go for it. Damage coming down onto the Mordekaiser. Ghost pop by the Darius. He realizes Viego's here now, but he's going to fight anyway. He dunks the Mordekaiser. Viego ults, but the heal off the Darius Q, he's going to dunk him back, and it is a double kill from top lane Darius. A huge turnaround, and we talked about that lead, and when Darius gets it, he is absolutely someone that can 2v1. A little bit aggressive to go for that top lane gank, and I think the Mordekaiser just got caught out a little bit too soon and a little bit too early there, and it is going to cost him plates, it is going to cost him Dragon, it is going to cost so much pressure. And a clean 4-0 start from our champions in the red team here. Nice Braum Q onto the Lulu. Bone plating protects some damage, but still does quite a bit there. She's a squishy champion. See Graves in the bot side, but he is backing here. Not able to get much done. Blue should know he's down here as well with the recently obtained Dragon. Darius backing in the top lane. Hopefully he gets out. He was no mana. A big Braum ult coming down, but it does not land on the Kai'Sa. Still putting poke and damage down. Kai'Sa returning fire. Damage coming down in mid lane, both at half health now. We'll see how that exchange continues in a second here. As bot lane continues to brawl, MF takes a tower shot, but putting some poke down as well. Ultimately feeling like they have a pretty big pressure lead here down on the bot side. We see Graves and Viego both around their mid side, continuing to clear. So we have our junglers going opposite side now again, with Graves in the top and Viego on the bot side. Missing ping from Viego onto the Shelly, but it does not look like Graves is actually going to go for it. More just spotted out there. He's going to go for his red buff instead. Darius clearing out that top side vision as Graves is up there. We'll see if they look for something in just a minute here. It could be a kind of dive situation, and if they turn that into Shelly and a plate, that could be a first tower and a bunch of plates, but we see Viego going bot side first. The Braum hasn't quite noticed, but he notices now. An ult coming down from Viego. A big Braum wall to block a lot. MF on the run. So low the Braum, but he gets out. And MF wants to brawl. She's out of mana, but her team has arrived. Malphite not able to hit the ult as Kai'Sa flashes, but the Lulu is getting stuck. She is so slow. Looks like they're going to take the kill, maybe trying to feed it over to the MF, but that shield wouldn't go away. Malphite opts to clean it up, make sure they get a nice safe kill. Was not able to land the ult, but did blow the bot lane flash out of it and gets a kill on top of it. The Jace, unfortunately, stuck in mud in the mid lane, not able to respond. Another successful gank and great play out of the Malphite. With the TP up soon, might be headed back bottom next ult that is up. Mordekaiser struggling to take control of this top lane now, able to put a little bit of poke down, but the Graves is going to clear that Shelly top side. So Red in total control here, in objectives, kills, and it all. We see the Darius proxying, and the Graves wants the Mordekaiser to go check. The Mordekaiser is on to something, though. Shelly being taken, he knows what they're after and sees it. On the way, pings coming from blue. They've got two members coming, but there's still a tower back. The Mordekaiser's going to need some help here. Let's see how greedy the red team gets. They're going to get pretty greedy. They're going to go for this, and Mordekaiser's putting good damage down. They realize now that the rest of the team is here. They need to start running. Mordekaiser ult goes down. Darius going for the 2v1 for the remaining members, but he's not able to win it. Gets out on the blast cone. Graves fighting the Mordekaiser in the Mord ult, and he is ultimately going to go down. Amazing escape from the Darius, able to get away from that. Thought that was a double kill for sure. The Graves gonna get cleaned up, but they do get a bunch of plates and first tower out of it, and a Q coming down on the Kai'Sa. She is caught. Big Braum ult down onto both of them. Wall coming up, blocking everything. They are getting low. Another Braum Q hits, lands, autos going down. Kai'Sa desperately trying to run, and they are going to get out. A little FU auto on the way out as well. This bot lane looking very strong as well. That Jace having trouble, gets ulted, looks super low again, and again just does not respect the Malphite damage. Hovering around at half health there, and Malphite wasn't even sure originally, kind of playing around. Are you really going to get away with that? You really think you want to do that? And after the Q lands, sees the opportunity, blows up the Jason. He is gone once more from his greediness. Viego trying a level behind, trying to fight the Malphite. There goes 80% of his health. What happened? That is not the fight he wants. And the bigger this Malphite gets, that is going to be a huge problem for the mid and jungle here, especially being this behind. Dragon now spawning in under a minute. Viego looks to be resetting. No, he's not. He's headed to his bot side. That bot tower now just with one plate. So much pressure generated in all these side lanes. The dragon is up now. Lulu getting some vision down. Looks like top lane's going to be in a stalemate for a bit, but all four members of the other team are working their way over to the dragon side. Kai'Sa wants some plates, but ends up taking some tower shots on accident instead. That could be pretty painful for the upcoming dragon fight. We'll see if blue even chooses to contest this maybe. They might just hand it over. Their AD carry is low. Their Lulu's level 6. Graves is going to start that dragon now. Mordekaiser does have TP, and the Darius does not. So there's an opportunity for 5v4 kind of outplay here. Blue is in position like they want it, but their Kai'Sa's all the way back at base. The Mordekaiser putting some damage onto the Darius. Ults the Darius. That could go either way at this point. Mordekaiser looks like he's going to win it. Turns it around. Shut down onto the Darius after a huge lead. Mordekaiser is able to find a way to shut down the Darius. It does come at a cost of the red team taking Dragon, though. That is now the second one. A ticking timer they will need to be aware of, but we'll see if that matchup continues to turn around in Mordekaiser's favor. Definitely changes the dynamic of how these side lanes look. Graves getting pinged out on the top side, getting spotted by that ward. Kai'Sa looks like she's going to try and get collapsed on the bot side, but it's Lulu in the rotation who's going to get picked instead. Malphite able to land 2 with the ult, stacked up with the Braum as well, and down goes the Lulu. A huge Malphite ult, max distance, knocking up both of them, and a great follow-up from the Braum there, able to just clean them out. And, you know, the Kai'Sa saw the rotation that was happening down, and the rest of the team did too. So she kept running back to her tower. The team was rotating over, but that is where the trap was set on red side. Able to get a nice, clean pick there. This bot tower now very low with the support dead. Will they push it and go for the tower? Or it looks like they're opting for a back. Potentially with the Viego rotating down too, but they want blood for Kai'Sa instead. And she might fall for it. Blue does not have vision of this. The Braum steps out, throws the exhaust down, but the Kai'Sa just runs away. A flash from Bomb. They don't realize the Viego is here, though. This is going to turn into a 2v3 real quick. Back ping's going down. They've realized the mistake. Running away. Heals. Flash is going down. Braum so low. Downs. Kai'Sa comes over, is out of mana, gets super low as well. Has to heal, but lives. Viego picks up another kill. TP coming in, but it's too late. The Malphite is here. The Mordekaiser and Jace are here. The Malphite has to flash away. He is going to get run down if he is not able to ult out of this. Darius is going to continue pushing top. The Malphite is able to just run away. And that is a big fight for the blue side. Graves not having any of it, though. Wants to run down this Viego and gets it. In the midst of all the chaos, finds the loose straggler. Absolutely blows him up. Meanwhile, the Darius putting damage down onto the top tower. Mordekaiser able to respond, but at the cost of over half of his tower here. That was a great fight out of the blue side. I was prepped that this team is known for their throws. The red team is known for throws. And so far, they are on track for a game where it could be a great setup and throw. Looking for a big pick onto the Jace. Not quite able to get it. The Jace choosing to fight, though. He is a madman. Fighting back against the Graves. Malphite goes down for it after losing his flash to the Malphite ult. Red trying to put a little pressure on this mid tower. Not able to get much, most likely. Taking some damage now from the Kai'Sa. They need to be a little careful of the red buff. Blue not choosing to pursue. Red team has pings coming down on the Shelly. Likely going to reset and go for that objective that is up. See bot lane rotating over to bot side as well, with the Kai'Sa showing down there. Lulu rotating up, realizing that the only objective they want right now is up there, and they're going to want some vision. Expect to see red to rotate over here as a 5-man, especially with Kai'Sa showing bottom. They are going to start the Shelly. They have about a minute and a half to take it before it despawns. Graves opting to put some damage down on the Lulu, trying to deny some of that vision. Make sure they don't really know what's going on here. Looks like they might just give this one for free. Jace is going to try and steal it with a Q, but it's not going to land. That is a free Shelly for red team here, with Dragon spawning in about 50 seconds. We'll see how they plan to use the Shelly. Do they throw it down now to gain pressure for the Dragon? Or do they look for some kind of big Shelly play to get 2 slams and hopefully try to open up an inhibitor? Interesting to put it on the MF. Generally, we see those on split pushers, or people who are like the Darius might have been a good one, as blue team potentially over-rotates to Dragon, and he gets a nice Shelly into that inhibitor. The MF seems a little strange to me, but they might have their reasons, or just an accidental pickup. That Dragon spawning in about 10 seconds now, and the red team is there, grabbing Scuttle. Huge net of vision if you look at that mini-map. Red is all over here on the Dragon. Blue's going to have a very tough time getting into this one, especially with a lot of deadly engage from the Malphite, the Braum. Blue needs to be very careful about where they walk going into this fight. Graves now going to start the Dragon. Blue does not have vision of this. Viego is going to E and go stealth. He's going to try and get a little bit closer. The Dragon's around 2k now, getting low. Red team secures it. Darius on the other side of this tower. He is in deep. He is proxy Darius over there doing his thing. All in all, a free dragon for red team here. That is now their third as they gear towards the next dragon being Soul here. Already at the 20-minute mark, and that is going to be a Earth Soul, or Mountain Soul, excuse me, which is going to make it very hard to kill this Malphite. And I'm sure the Braum and the Darius are going to enjoy that benefit as well. Red team putting some pings down on this blue buff. Let's see what they actually go for here. The Lulu is backed. Will they go for it? Does not look like it. With two blue members in the top side here, but that does create a weak spot on the bot side. The Shelly does go down now in bot side. Blue team trying to rotate. Kai'Sa's just here alone for now, but Viego coming in from the top side. Lulu here to support the Kai'Sa. And the slam goes down. Not quite able to get the tower, but Red, sensing danger, gets out of the way. And Mordekaiser ult going down top lane. Darius and Mord going at it here. Darius flashes a little late, able to get the big Q. He's going to have to dunk him here soon. Very low, not able to get the ult off. MF ult coming down, but Viego is on top of them in a huge fight from Blue. Absolutely obliterating this bot side. 2 for 0 there and a kill in the top lane. Blue team is coming back, and it is looking a little bit spooky for the red team here. What was a 4K lead, at least at some point, has now shrunk to 2.8K and a tough couple kills to be giving up there, but still dominating at objectives, being their late game win condition here. There is a lot of scaling on that blue side between Viego, Mord, Kai'Sa, all really strong scaling champions, with the Lulu there to augment all of what they do. Makes for a very strong blue team the longer this game ticks. They are going to need to figure out some of these objectives, though. They have lost both Shellys and all 3 dragons. That's 5 objectives that they have not been able to get a hold of in this game. Including towers, actually, as well, if we look at it. They have not knocked down a single tower, but have lost, what, 1, 2, 5 of their, 4 of their own. I think if red team could be a little bit more selective about some of the fights they take here, they're definitely still in a strong position to win. We see some picks now being set up in the top side blue jungle here. Sweepers going down, nobody checking yet. They do see the Kai'Sa in bottom, so they feel pretty okay attempting this with 4 people in the area. Mordekaiser ult immediately goes down on the Darius. He wants to brawl. He wants to fight. He says, I can kill you now. That early game is over, friend. He is going at it. The Lulu has arrived. Darius is going to lose this again. And he goes down. A free pick from the Mordekaiser. His team not able to really help and respond while that ult is down. And a great rotation from the Lulu. Even when they come out of the ult there, Blue was ready to go. MF not realizing that the Kai'Sa is here, and she's a level behind. Kai'Sa with the E, putting some big damage down with Kraken Slayer. Ults out of the MF ult, and it is an absolute slaughter now. A great pick from the Kai'Sa there. A much better duelist than the MF. MF a much better team fighter, so just a lack of vision there. A nice heads-up awareness kind of pick there out of the Kai'Sa. And being a level up for how much pressure she did not have in the early game is extremely impressive. Has been doing... I don't know, eating her Cheerios in the mid-game here is wild. Level 13 now, 2 levels up on the MF. 1 MF ult, though, can turn the tide of any team fight. Less about her levels and more where she is. Red team pinging that Baron is alive, but they must see that this dragon is up in less than a minute here, and that is going to be Soul, 50 seconds. Kai'Sa clearing out bottom lane and going for the reset. Mordekaiser heads back to top lane. I assume he's just going to try and all-in the Darius the moment he sees him again. It worked for him that time. No reason for him to think it wouldn't work this time. That would leave a 4v4 at the Dragon or potential Mord TP after that fight is over in top lane. Both sides just getting prepped for now. Blue not with a lot of vision around there. If they want to take these objectives, they really need to start thinking more about how to get vision. It's making these fights extra difficult, even if they do have or have been fighting better, at least in these past few fights. And we see all the rotations coming over now. Darius gets first rotationed over, but Mord is going to follow. Red team is already on top of the Dragon. They know to pull it out. They're going to tug it all the way over out of that river. Try and make it as hard as possible for blue team to get in here. Denying any vision that comes over that wall. Dragon getting low at half health now. Resets at 3k. Back to the center, and it's back to reset in the middle. It's low, 600. Stolen by the Viego. Not able to get the soul. That is huge, but two members get pulled into the pit. What did Darius play? A huge grab. Mordekaiser's going to ult himself to try and get out of this. Darius goes in the back lane, but his team is not there. He had to go over the wall as well. The Graves gets killed by the Mordekaiser. He's just 1vxing the whole team. And after a steal from Viego and what looked like a good pull from the Darius, it is now the blue team who is running over the red team. And it is kills everywhere. 4 for the blue team and 3 for red. An unfortunate stolen dragon. That would have been the soul in an absolute huge play for the red team. And when they talked about being the king of throws in the pre-chat, they were not kidding. They are absolutely delivering on this game from a 5-0 start, I believe, maybe 6-0, into now what is a very close game. Kills swung in the other direction. Gold almost even, which will be swung the other way if Kaisel is able to take this tower. And now we've got some real objectives on the map. Baron is going to become a real concern. Kraken Slayer Kaisa can absolutely melt that guy if they want to look for it. Viego as well, both very good Baron takers, but Kaisa might be getting picked here. She got absolutely chunked by the Malphite Q. That was half her health, and the whole red team's coming down now. They want blood. Does not look like they're going to be able to get it. Malphite ult was not up because he was most likely thinking about it, or she was thinking about it, or would have loved to have it. Red team really needs to regroup if they want to get back into this one. Maybe abuse some of this poor vision that blue has had, because they've really been in tough spots, but they made it work there somehow with the steal, with the fight after. The Mordekaiser really carried a lot of that. If we could go back to a VOD and a replay, you know, the Darius pull feels good, right? He brings 2 into the pit. He goes to run down the other ones, but what he doesn't realize is the Mord can just 4v2 their whole team. And that is exactly what happened. The vision game now beginning on the top side, and red team's vision control has been so much better than blue team's this game. They continue that trend here. Blue really only with a pink ward up in the kind of defensive pink there from Mord. They are grouped together. They're trying to establish some vision together. I like what they're doing, but I like the pick setup here from red. I love what they're doing, and they see the Kaisa. They pick the Kaisa out of nowhere. She is gone. That is a huge part of their team. They're now chasing on to the Jace. A big Braum ult knocks up 2 of them. Jace is going to get caught. Tries to put up some damage. Lulu ult goes down as well. It is not enough. Mordekaiser getting in the mix of it. He's Zonia'd. Isn't able to do a ton of damage. Ult comes down. It is on the, boy, I can't even tell who that is. It was on the Malphite, and he is able to clean him, but he brings him out of the ult. Big damage still coming down. Mordekaiser goes down. Viego picks up an ult as they trade 1 for 1. Viego throws the slam down, picks up another kill as he kills Graves. He goes for the MF now. Kills the MF. He's resetting left and right. Darius able to kill and cleans up the entire fight. Darius with the triple kill and ace, a bloodbath both directions. A huge pick initially on the Kaisa, and it was looking good for red team, and then all of a sudden Mordekaiser starts doing Mordekaiser things. Luckily Darius able to save the day there with the resets, and no objectives or anything to be taken. Gold remains pretty much a wash there. Blue is now with a slight lead. Insane fight. Would have loved to see MF hold that ult a little bit longer and try to get a few more people in than the Kaisa. I think she was kind of dead regardless, and that might have been the game changer there. Mountain Drake now spawning in a minute. Red team determined as ever to get this soul. Blue team just picked up scuttles. It's going to be a little bit tougher for red to just secure free vision unless blue just lets them. And they might, as Kaisa is a little bit spooked in the mid lane. Looks like she had to flash the Malphite ult. It was hard to see. Yeah, they're pinging flash, so it looks like she flashed that. A big cooldown on both sides. But the Malphite ult will not be up immediately for Dragon. They will have to stall for this. Mordekaiser is in topside, but he does have TP. Darius is going to have to rotate straight here. Blue team Finally getting some good vision control, and red is okay to give this dragon up because they know that's only the blue team's second, and instead they got their sights set on bigger, head straight over to Baron. They're going to have to clear a ward, so blue team is going to know, but they're going to start it anyway. The Mordekaiser is here. Let's see if he just ult someone straight up, and he does. He's going right for the Darius. That's going to buy a lot of time for his team to rotate over, but it's a little bit of a split decision from blue. They only have 3 members rotating, and it's going to take a while. They are not here yet, whereas all of red is on top of them, and the Mordekaiser is gone. That is bad news for the blue team. That is a huge pick out of red, but let's see if they can turn it into more, because Kai'Sa was able to get the dragon, and they're trying to pick the Lulu out of this deal, and they do. Do they want more? They're looking now for kills onto the Kai'Sa. Or do they go to the Baron? I kind of like if they would go to the Baron, get some kind of objective out from this, other than just evening up the gold. They are going to go for objectives, but it's going to be mid lane instead. We have 2 members dead for about 18 seconds, and a huge flash ult from Malphite absolutely obliterates one of the members of blue, and another member jumps into the MF ult. Jace comes back, able to respond with a kill, but goes down instead, and that was a massive play. Huge flash ult from Malphite. Spectacular play to help get things started there, and that is the MF ult that they're looking for on top of that. Now, with 3 additional picks, 2 members alive, they're trying to look for game. The Mordekaiser is one of them, though, and with the Lulu, this is going to be no small feat. They opt to back up, reset, play it safe, don't want to get aced, and run into a kind of Baron situation here. But a great play to open up the inhibitor and knock down the inhibitor. What was looking like it was going to be a tough siege, or maybe we should Baron call kind of play. Ultimately, they make the choice on mid, and it winds up being a good one, knocking down that inhibitor. That should really open up the map for this Baron now, or future dragons. We know Dragon was just taken recently, so it'll be a bit before it is up. But as these supers push in, someone will have to deal with it. And that should free up red to have a few more liberties to do what they want around the map. Blue team now fixing that vision problem they had with 3 pinks on that Baron side. Clearly trying to make sure they have some kind of awareness on this. Viego highly prioritizing that scuttle. Great thing to keep here while your inhibitor is down and potentially facing a push. Mordekaiser looking to split bottom again and keep the Darius down there. He is the one with the TP. Planning on maximizing that TP advantage at every possible point he can. Red with pings on the Mordekaiser, recognizing that the team really on blue is not by Baron. Put some damage down on the Lulu, and she gets obliterated. A huge pick onto the support here. Red team now rotating over to the Baron, realizes what they want. They know what they want. They are headed there, and all this vision from blue that they've worked so hard all game to establish is about to get completely unwound. Mordekaiser recognizes the problem, does not opt to continue pushing. Except he does. He's headed back now, and red not exactly sure what to do. They don't really want to start it. They recognize they don't see the Mord. Darius goes to back because they think the Mord might continue to push, but he does not. Now ping's going down on Dragon in a minute 45 here or so. Looks like neither team wants to get too aggressive over this Baron. And we go back to a holding pattern. If we look at levels here, Darius and Malphite have their level 16. Mordekaiser's the only one. Oh, excuse me, Mord now and Kai'Sa both have it on the other side. Level 16 power spikes can be quite a big deal in these late game team fights. Red team moving together to clear some of this vision. Once again doing fantastic control of getting vision of these objectives. Even some of the objectives that they've lost, they still had control of. So they have done a marvelous job of keeping control of all of this game. Blue again going to need kind of some kind of miracle steal if they can't get some kind of control again. But they do have that mid lane pushing down with supers. Red has pings going down on the Mordekaiser. Let's see if they actually try and make anything of this. The Brahm's going to run into the Viego, lands a Q on him. He gets the knock up. Viego has to ult away. That's a pretty big deal. Mordekaiser wants to ults the Darius straight up right away. Darius with a Stridebreaker outplay, dodging the Mordekaiser E. The Mordekaiser doesn't look like he's going to be able to kill him in time, but he is going to get low. Zhonya's coming out to the Mordekaiser as blue team now trying to respond in the jungle, and a huge MF ult to send them back, but the Mordekaiser running out the Darius. He's now turning on to the rest of the team. They get the Kai'Sa as a kill, but Mordekaiser running to the backline, getting low now and kited out, able to grab the Malphite, but it is not enough. He goes down. That is a huge pick from red side. They are now 2 for 0 in this jungle fight, and there are 2 supers marching down the base of blue. They're going to have to back. This is going to be an absolutely free Baron for red side, and the Mountain Soul has waited ever so long to get to this moment, but it has finally arrived. It is theirs as they march over to Baron, looking for more off those 2 picks, particularly with the Mordekaiser dead for 30 seconds. They are going to want everything they can get. And they clean their Baron vision from blue that few minutes ago. So blue does not have, they know they're here, but they don't have a great look at what's going on. Let's see what they opt to do. They're probably just going to have to let it go, but I see Jace getting a little cheeky here. Wanting to steal this. The Malphite ult is up. If he steps too far forward, this might be another pick into game. That is going to be a free Baron. Red's going to get a nice, clean reset here. And let's see how they begin to pressure with this newfound Baron buff and Mountain Soul. Is an extraordinary power spike going over to the red side here. They have reclaimed the gold lead by almost 3K. They are ready to rock and roll. They were just giving the fans a show earlier. Still hope for the blue team here, though. The Mordekaiser wasn't quite able to kill a bunch of the targets last fight, and if that goes a couple hundred damage another direction, definitely could have swung pretty poorly there for red. So the game's still very, very close despite these newfound buffs onto the red side. Those shields are looking tough to get through, though. If I am the other team, Viego or Kai'Sa, I'm looking at Malphite shield and Braum shield with his Guardian, I believe it is, and this is looking very hard to get through. Braum going with the dash and the Q, able to land the R onto the Lulu, who has to flash it out. Darius popping Ghost, going to start running people down, not able to land the E. Malphite also misses the ultimate. This is going poorly for red side, but they are able to snag the inhibitor anyway, and I think they're just going to march out. There was a bunch of pressure, and let's call them zoning ultimates here, to get the blue team out of the way and ultimately snag the inhibitor. It wasn't pretty, but it got the job done. Now they're going to continue the advance onto the top side. Malphite had to go back, is going to start pushing bottom. Red team should look to take it slow here as blue team looks to collapse. It's a 5v4 kind of situation with Mordekaiser leading the charge. Darius does not want to get pulled in there, but Mordekaiser throws the ult down immediately. That is going to be a pick onto the Darius unless he can turn some kind of miracle here. The rest of red team knows it's time to run away. Darius is going to go down. A great Mordekaiser ult there, instantly identifying that Malphite was not there or that they just wanted to fight. Throws the R down instantly, has the TP now to defend against the push. This man is all over the map. Kai'Sa with a lot of items on here, able to clear these supers extremely quickly at this point. Blue side pings going down on the top side, recognizing that red looking to press their advantage up there. Mordekaiser does not have TP now, and he's still on the bot side, so this kind of split push game doesn't work quite like it did before, and red team is all here. Baron buff goes down, but they're going to get the tower out of the deal. Mordekaiser recognizing he has to back. Jace caught in the bot side jungle on red side. He does have TP, though. He's coming back. Darius is not there, but damage going down onto that inhibitor tower just a bit as red team now retreats. They're going to want to sync up again, and blue team holding off this aggression quite well. That was a Baron buff plus the new Mountain Soul and Spike, and blue team has been able to hold this off. Red team now having to reset again. This is ultimately probably going to be a fight sometime around the next Baron or Elder buff coming up. Oops. Sorry, my mouse dragging things away here. Not a lot going on for now. We see a lot of vision from red in that top side. I can't see the timers here. I'm going to have to look on how to get those set up. But, you know, in my mind, it certainly looks like they want Baron next. But body language says dragons. Elder might be on the way instead. Let's see as they kind of populate that bot side. And sure enough, it is Elder up in a minute here. As they kind of populate this bot side with wards. Again, beating out blue on vision control here. It's been an absolute slaughter in terms of vision control of red versus blue. Red coming out way ahead in the matter. The hyperscale carry should be kind of coming online here with Viego and Kaisa, and we know the Mordekaiser is quite strong. We've seen that plenty and does well against these tanky Mountain Soul types. You see just some posturing now with red into the river, blue trying to work its way in from a number of different angles here. Dragon now in 20 seconds. Scuttle's going to be on the way as well. Red continuing to looking to clear vision. Blue needs to find a way to get into this cleanly. This is a tough spot to be for them on the backside of the Dragon Pit. I think they should go down into the river through that Tri-Brush to get in here, to do it as a team. And it looks like that is kind of what they're going for. Red's cutting off the other side. That is not where blue wants to be, and it's not where they are. Darius looking for a little cheeky hook over the wall here. You can see it, and you know that's what he's looking for. Does not pull the Mordekaiser. Has to be thinking about it, but is he going to repeat the mistakes of last time, pulling him into his team? They aggro Dragon. I'm not certain that that was intentional. I don't think they're going to be taking this, and it looks like they run away from it. Maybe hoping the enemy team tanks it a little bit, but not a lot going on. We see mid lane supers starting to push down in pressure, so I'm sure Red is waiting for those supers to do their job, bring one member of the team back, and then they're going to take their strike. And Kaisa's starting to go back now. This is where Red's going to look for some aggressive plays. They see the Kaisa. They instantly start moving. They go on the Mordekaiser. Darius running him down. Grabs the Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser has to zone you immediately. He's going to need help, but his team is not here. Immediately turns on the MF. Great personal ult. Gets the ult onto the MF, and she is struggling trying to run away, but she has so many tools. She's got Sonya's Flash, the Gale Force. She's everything to get away, and Mordekaiser nails into the rest of the team. Kills going down. Malphite ults into the backline on blue. Able to eliminate two of them. Viego now able to reset off his ult, or tries to. Not able to, as Darius starts dunking people left and right, and that is a massive fight for red team. An ace as TPs come down mid lane. They're starting to push. Graves thinks about Elder, opts to not go for it because they know they can end the game. The death timers are huge. We are 43 minutes into the game. This is going to be looking like a win out of our red team here. After a crazy back and forth game, it looked like they were thinking about throwing it. That was on the tip tops of their minds. Ultimately turn it around. Even through a scary Mordekaiser ult, a beautiful play from MF to get out of it with stopwatch, flash, Gale Force, heal, using all the tools to get out of there. Stays alive, and red team picks up their first win here for the Clash series. A wonderfully played game. Very exciting on both sides. Mordekaiser doing his damnedest on the blue side to try and keep his team afloat, to keep them going. But ultimately when he gets picked there, and it's because the Kaisa had to go back, those supers were pushing down, someone had to deal with it, right? And the moment they saw that, the moment they saw the Kaisa come back, red team springs into action and takes advantage of it and snags the Mordekaiser, the full team. You know, I'm really amazed he's 5, 6, and 9, because it seems like if I go to the damage chart here, that man must have done some things. 28,000, significantly more than the rest of his team. Malphite, mid AP with highest damage in the game. Traditionally a nuking mid laner, not known for his sustained damage output. Tops the charts here. very well played from the Malphite, and had some huge ults several times throughout the game that turned fights for them. And even at the end there, it was just a glimpse because there was so much going on, but pinged or caught two members in the back there and absolutely deleted them in the late game. Was huge into that late game fight. So wonderfully fought and won out of our champions here in red. As they continue to scout for their next game, we'll go ahead and hang out for a bit, enjoy some music, and relax. So you're saying the Malphite mid was not supposed to be the thing. Yeah, I think that was a wise choice from him. It looks like they didn't exactly want the Malphite mid, but versus the Mord, that's extremely difficult, right? Malphite loves to stack armor, and Mordekaiser simply would not care. So, you know, I think it's a great flex play. Swap him mid, put him against the Jace instead. Malphite showing his versatility there. And when I was originally worried about, you know, lack of AP damage, right, coming from that team, I was under the impression it was a Malphite top, who's generally going much tankier things, so a lot less damage, right? But when you're full on AP, you just now have an AP mid laner, so you're okay. Yeah, that worked out wonderfully there. Almost stepping into the range of throwing the game. You guys almost delivered on that. Definitely made it exciting. At one point, swung the gold lead back to the other side. And I will be right back. I'm going to grab